All right, so you're looking to really amp up your business growth and fast, right, in just 90 days, using those customer-focused strategies you always hear about from the 80/20 method. We've got a ton of information from CEOs to private equity experts, and even companies that use this stuff every single day, ready to go. So let's dive into how to make that 80/20 principle work for you.
You know, it's really interesting. You've got the right idea, focusing on those top customers. You can almost think about it like this. Every business kind of has this loyalty ladder, you know? At the bottom rung, you've got those people who are just aware of your company. You know, they've seen your logo or heard your name. Then as they move up, you've got the ones who make a purchase maybe a few times and become repeat buyers. But the real magic happens when you get to the top of that ladder and create what we call raving fans.
Okay, raving fans. That's interesting. I like that better than just satisfied customers. What makes them so special?
Yeah. Well, these are those customers that not only love what you do and what you sell, but they're actually out there telling everyone they know about you. They become like this amazing engine for growth. You attract all these new high-value customers, and they might even be willing to pay more because they see the value that you offer.
Yeah, that makes sense. But wouldn't focusing so much on just a small group of customers end up alienating all those other customers we have?
That's a good point. And that's where it's all about the strategy and how you actually do this. You know, the 80/20 principle is about being smarter, not just working harder. It's not about ignoring 80% of your customer to only focus on the top 20%. It's about understanding that you've got different groups of customers with different needs and they need different things from you. You can still keep those relationships going with your regular customer base, but for that top group, your strategies and your resources are going to be bigger for them to make the most impact.
So how do we even figure out who these top customers are within all the customers we already have? I'm guessing it's got to be more than just who spends the most money with us.
You're absolutely right. It can't just be about the money. We need to dig deeper and use what's called a quartile analysis. Now, I know that might sound kind of complicated, but it's basically a way to rank your customers based on how well they do using certain measurements and not just their spending. We're going to go into exactly how to do that later on, but the main point is to find out that top 25%, your top quartile that brings the most value. And that value can come from how much they spend, how much profit they bring in, or even how much they could grow in the future.
And I'm guessing there are probably a lot of companies out there that think they don't even have this kind of customer concentration, right?
You know, you're right. A lot of companies think that their customers are pretty much all the same. But when they start to do this quartile analysis, they're shocked to realize that a huge chunk of their profits, like maybe even close to 80%, is coming from just that top 25% of their customers. It's like finding hidden treasure and realizing just how much potential is waiting to be unlocked.
Wow, this is making me think about our own customers, and I wonder which ones would be in that top group. But let's say we figured out who that top 25% is. What are some of the best things we can do to turn them into those raving fans you were talking about? Especially if we want to see those changes in just 90 days.
One of the most powerful things you can do is to really wow them. Go beyond just doing what they expect and do something that really surprises them. Think about what their problems are, their goals, even their hobbies and interests. What are those unexpected things you can do that show you understand their needs and priorities?
So like if we know a customer is having trouble with a certain business problem, maybe we connect them with an expert we know who can give them advice.
Exactly. Or maybe they mention a special event or a personal goal they have. A thoughtful gift or a handwritten note can really make a difference. It shows that you're not just thinking about the sale, you actually care about their success and what's important to them.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But what if some people are resistant to change and say, hey, we're already doing that? How can we figure out if we're accidentally ignoring our best customers without realizing it?
You know, it's all about taking an honest look at how you're doing things right now. Ask yourself, are there things that slow us down or things that aren't working well that affect our top 25% of customers more than the others? For example, is the way you deliver orders set up for small orders, but not those big complex orders that your most important customers usually place? Or maybe your customer support team is overloaded, so your top customers have to wait longer to get help.
So it's about finding those places where we're accidentally making it harder for our most important customers.
Yeah, and sometimes the solutions are pretty easy. Maybe you set up a special phone line for your top customers, or make a simpler way to handle those really big orders. These little changes show your top customers that they're important to you, and you want to help them succeed.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even about big, complicated things. It's about those little touches that show you care. Yeah, Like a handwritten thank you card or picking up the phone to just check in and see how things are going. Those can really make someone feel valued.
Exactly. You're right, those little things can really make a big difference. But you know what else is important?
What's that?
Making sure your team's on board with all of this. Change can be hard, especially when you're talking about shifting resources around and trying new things.
That's so true. People can get pretty set in their ways. So how do we get our team excited about this new way of focusing on our top customers?
Well, that's where that magic formula we talked about earlier really comes in handy. You know, the one that helps us measure the impact of giving those top customers extra attention.
Yeah, can you walk us through that again? How does it work? How can we use it to get everyone on the same page?
Of course. So the magic formula is all about showing the numbers the real impact of prioritizing those top customers. Let's say your on-time delivery rate right now is 80% overall. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, 80%, it's not bad.
Yeah, right. But when you look closer, you'll probably see that it's not the same for every customer. Some customers are always getting their deliveries on time, while others are having to wait more often.
Makes sense. Some customers are probably easier to get those deliveries to than others.
Exactly. And what the magic formula does is it helps you show your team that if you focus on improving on-time deliveries for just that top 20% of your customers, it can actually make a big difference in your overall on-time delivery rate. It might even bump it up a few points.
Wow. So it's not just about making a small group of customers happy. It actually helps the whole business run better.
Right. And when you can show your team those numbers, it helps them understand why this is so important. It's not just about feelings, it's about making smart decisions based on the data.
I like that. It takes the guesswork out of it.
Ask yourself, are there any bottlenecks or things that just aren't working well that are especially affecting those top 25% of your customers?
Okay, so for instance, maybe our system for shipping orders is great for small orders, but not so great for those really big, complex orders that our most important customers often place. This is really making me think about our own processes and where we can make some improvements. But even if we can clearly show our team the data and where we need to improve, how do we deal with people who are just resistant to change? You know, those people who don't like doing things differently.
Ah, yes, resistance to change. That's a challenge every business faces. You know, the key is to create a culture where everyone embraces change and sees it as an opportunity.
Easier said than done, though, right?
Yeah.
How do we make that now?
It starts at the top with leadership.
Right. Even if the team is on board, if the leaders aren't fully behind it, it's probably going to fizzle out.
Exactly. Leaders need to be the champions of change. They need to clearly articulate the vision and model the behaviors they want to see in their teams.
So it's not enough to just give a speech about the 80-20 principle.
Yeah.
They need to walk the walk. Show everyone how it's done.
Precisely. It might mean changing how they spend their time prioritizing meetings with those key accounts, or even stepping in to solve problems for those top customers. They need to send a clear message. This is how we do business now.
I can see how that kind of commitment from leadership would be contagious. It would really set the tone for the whole organization.
Absolutely. But leadership is just one piece of the puzzle. Communication is equally important. You need to explain the why behind the shift to your team.
Right. It's not about playing favorites. It's about making strategic choices that benefit the entire company.
Exactly. Connect the 80-20 principle to your big picture business goals, whether it's higher profits, sustainable growth, or a stronger brand. Be upfront about the challenges. Acknowledge that there will be hiccups along the way, but emphasize that you're all in this together.
So be real, be honest,
Yeah.
but also be positive and focus on solutions.
I like that. And don't forget to celebrate those early wins, right?
Yes, celebrating those wins is so important. Keeps the momentum going and keeps everyone excited about the changes.
It shows everyone that their efforts are paying off and that we're moving in the right direction together.
Exactly. And you know who else is crucial to all of this?
Who's that?
Our frontline teams. The people who are interacting with customers every single day. Right, they're the ones who are going to be delivering those amazing experiences that turn those satisfied customers into raving fans.
Exactly. They are the face of your company, and they are the ones who bring the strategy to life.
So it's about giving them the tools, the training, and the freedom they need to really own that customer relationship.
Precisely. They need to understand the 80-20 principle. They need to be able to spot those top customers. And they need to have the authority to make decisions that will wow those customers. It's about moving away from a top-down approach and creating a more collaborative, customer-centric model.
And that takes a lot of trust. trusting our team to make the right decisions and go above and beyond for our customers.
Absolutely. And that trust will pay off big time when you have a team that feels empowered and engaged. They'll be passionate about delivering those exceptional customer experiences.
Okay, so we've talked about the mindset, the internal changes, and the importance of our frontline team. But let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
Where do we start? What are the most impactful things we can focus on in those first 90 days?
Let's start with something that might surprise you. Pricing.
Pricing. Really? Why is that so important?
Well, one of the experts you shared pointed out that in almost every company he's worked with, pricing is often an area that's not being managed as well as it could be.
So are you saying that we could be leaving money on the table by not charging enough? Especially for those top customers who see the value we provide and are willing to pay a premium.
Exactly. It's about understanding your worth and making sure your prices reflect that. Don't be afraid to charge what you deserve, especially for those top-tier customers who truly appreciate what you bring to the table.
So it's not about being greedy. It's about making sure our pricing is aligned with the quality and the expertise we offer.
Precisely. And when you get your pricing right, it frees up more resources to reinvest back into the business to make the customer experience even better. It's a win-win.
Okay, I'm seeing the value in focusing on pricing. What else should we be prioritizing in those first 90 days?
Another key area is organic growth, growing your business by expanding your reach to new customers and new markets. And this is particularly important for businesses that are thinking about attracting private equity investment.
Because private equity firms love to see companies that are growing organically, right? It shows that the business is healthy and sustainable.
You got it. It's not just about buying other companies or relying on quick fixes. It's about building a strong foundation for long-term growth from the inside out.
And how does that tie into our 80-20 strategy?
Well, we can use those insights we've been gathering about our top customers to identify those customer segments that offer the most potential for growth. Maybe there's a particular industry or demographic that's overrepresented among our top customers. Or maybe there's a geographic region where we're seeing a lot of traction.
So it's about being strategic with our growth efforts, focusing on the areas where we're most likely to succeed.
Exactly. It's about making smart choices with our resources and our energy.
This makes me think about our marketing efforts and how we could be more targeted in reaching those ideal customers.
You're right on track. Marketing is a powerful tool for driving organic growth, and it's even more powerful when you have a laser focus on those high-value customer segments.
Okay, so we've got pricing and organic growth covered. But how do we make sure we're staying on track? How do we measure our progress and make adjustments along the way?
Well, that's where those key metrics we talked about earlier come into play. We need to decide what we're going to measure up front and then track our progress diligently.
So we're not just setting goals and hoping for the best. We're putting systems in place to hold ourselves accountable.
Exactly. And remember, data is your friend. We need to be constantly collecting data, analyzing trends, and making sure our strategies are working. This data is also important for showing our team and any potential investors that our efforts are paying off.
Right. Seeing those tangible results will boost morale and show everyone that we're on the right path. But what about companies that don't have those fancy data collection systems? Can they still use the 80-20 principle effectively?
Of course they can. Remember, the 80-20 principle is about focusing on what really matters. And you don't need mountains of data to get started. Start with those basic questions. Who are our most profitable customers? Who are our most loyal customers? Who are the customers we love working with the most?
So we can start with our intuition, those gut feelings, and then look for ways to collect more data as we go.
Exactly. And don't forget to tap into the collective wisdom of your team, especially those folks who are interacting with customers day in and day out.
They often have amazing insights that can help us pinpoint those key customers and develop the right strategies.
Precisely. Don't let a lack of data hold you back. Start with what you know, what you observe, and what your team can tell you. And as you go, you can always refine and collect more data. But remember, even small steps can make a big impact when you're focused on those key customer relationships.
Okay, that's encouraging to hear. But let's be real. Implementing the 80-20 principle can be tough.
Yeah.
What are some of those common pitfalls that businesses should try to avoid?
One of the biggest mistakes I see is companies trying to do too much too fast. Don't try to boil the ocean, as they say. Start by focusing on one or two areas where you can make a real difference.
Okay, so we need to choose our battles.
Yeah.
Don't try to revamp everything overnight. Instead, focus on a few key areas where we can implement the 80-20 strategies and start seeing those early wins.
You got it. And remember, it's an ongoing process. You'll be constantly refining and adjusting your approach as you learn more and gain experience.
So we start small, build momentum, celebrate those early successes, and keep iterating. I like that. What else?
Another common mistake is failing to communicate effectively. Make sure your team is in the loop every step of the way. Be open and honest about your goals, the challenges you're facing, and be receptive to feedback.
But create a sense of transparency and make sure everyone understands the why behind the changes we're making.
Exactly. And remember how important it is to celebrate those wins. When you showcase those positive results, it builds momentum and keeps everyone motivated.
It shows everyone that their efforts are paying off and we're making progress together. Okay, I'm really starting to see how all these pieces fit together, the mindset, the strategies, the data. But how do we create a company culture where this way of thinking, this customer centricity, becomes a part of everything we do? How do we make it a way of life, not just a project?
That's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Making it a part of who you are as a company. It all starts with leadership.
Right. They set the tone for the entire organization.
Absolutely. They need to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. They need to demonstrate those behaviors that they want to see in their teams.
So they need to show a genuine commitment to focusing on those top customers and make decisions that put the customer experience first.
You got it. It might mean changing how they prioritize their time, making sure those meetings with key accounts are at the top of their list, or even stepping in personally to resolve issues for those top customers. It's about sending a clear message. This is how we do business. You're right. It's about setting the standards, showing the team that this is how we operate. It's not just a slogan, it's a way of life.
I can see how that would have a ripple effect throughout the organization, inspiring others to adopt that same mindset.
Exactly. And it's not just about leadership. We also need to empower our teams, give them the tools, the training, and the autonomy to make decisions that will truly wow those customers.
So it's about trusting them, letting them bend the rules or go beyond those standard operating procedures if it means exceeding a customer's expectations.
Absolutely. When your team feels empowered and trusted, they're more likely to be engaged and enthusiastic about creating those exceptional experiences we've been discussing.
That makes sense. It's about creating a culture of ownership and accountability. What else can we do to build this customer-centric culture?
Never underestimate the power of celebrating wins. Recognize and reward those team members who go above and beyond for their customers. Share their stories with the whole company. Let everyone see what success looks like.
So it's about creating a positive reinforcement loop where people feel appreciated for those efforts and they're motivated to keep putting the customer first.
You got it. And don't forget about the importance of customer feedback. Use surveys, interviews, focus groups, anything you can to gather insights and identify areas where you can improve.
So we're closing the loop, using customer feedback to inform our strategies and continuously make things better.
Exactly. That's how you build a company where everyone is passionate about delivering exceptional customer experiences, not because they have to, but because they want to, because it's ingrained in the company culture.
This has been incredibly insightful. But before we wrap things up, I want to touch on one more critical piece of this whole 80/20 implementation technology. How can we harness the power of technology to streamline our processes, gather those valuable insights, and deliver those personalized experiences we've been talking about?
Technology is an absolute game changer when it comes to implementing the 80/20 principle effectively and efficiently. There are these fantastic CRM systems that can track all your customer interactions, help you identify those top-tier customers, and even automate some of your marketing and communications.
So technology can make this whole process more manageable and scalable.
Exactly. And then you've got those powerful analytics tools that can really help you dig into your data and extract those golden nuggets of insight. You can start to see patterns, trends, and even anticipate future customer behavior.
So it's not just about gut feelings anymore. We're making data-driven decisions.
Precisely. And don't forget about the power of personalization. There are tools that allow you to tailor your messaging and craft those customized experiences for your top customers.
So technology is helping us create those stronger, more personalized relationships with our most valuable customers, which ultimately leads to more loyalty and advocacy.
Exactly. Technology can be an amazing ally in your 80/20 journey, helping you work smarter, not harder.
Okay, I'm seeing how technology is an essential piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
But let's talk about measuring our success. How do we know if our 80/20 implementation is actually working? What metrics should we be tracking?
We need to be really clear about our metrics from the get-go and track our progress over time. One of the most important ones, as we've mentioned before, is customer lifetime value, or CLTV.
Right? CLTV. That's the total revenue we expect to generate from a customer throughout their entire relationship with our company.
Exactly. It's not just about those short-term wins. It's about building those long-lasting, profitable relationships with your customers.
And by focusing on our top customers, those who have the potential to become those raving fans, we can expect to see a significant increase in CLTV.
Absolutely. And don't forget about tracking those other key metrics like customer satisfaction, net promoter score, and even churn rate.
So we're looking for positive trends across all those areas. More loyal customers, more satisfied customers, and ultimately more profitable customer relationships.
You got it. Data is your friend. Use it to guide your decisions, identify areas where you can improve, and celebrate those wins along the way.
All of this is incredibly helpful and inspiring, but let's be realistic for a moment. Implementing the 80-20 principle can be tough, especially in those early stages. What advice do you have for those who might be feeling a bit discouraged or overwhelmed?
My biggest piece of advice would be, don't give up. Change is hard, but the payoff is worth it. Remember why you're doing this. You're doing this to build a stronger company, cultivate those truly loyal customers, and achieve those ambitious goals you've set for yourself.
So it's about keeping that big picture in mind and staying focused on the long game.
Exactly. And remember, this is a journey. It's a process. You don't have to get everything perfect on day one. Just keep learning, keep experimenting, keep refining your approach.
So view those challenges as opportunities to grow and learn.
That's the right attitude. And remember, you're not in this alone. There's a whole community of people who are passionate about the 80-20 principle and eager to help you succeed. There are tons of resources out there, books, articles, podcasts, and even consultants who specialize in this stuff.
So don't be afraid to reach out, ask for help, and learn from others who've been down this road before.
Exactly. The 80-20 community is a great place to connect with like-minded people, get support, and share your own experiences.
That's really encouraging to hear. It's good to know we're not in this alone.
You're not. At the end of the day, the 80-20 principle is a pretty simple idea. Focus your energy on those areas that will bring you the biggest rewards. Focus on the 20% of your efforts that will drive 80% of your results.
It's about working smarter, not harder, and making sure our efforts are aligned with our goals.
You've got it. And I'm confident that by implementing the strategies and insights we've discussed today, you'll be well on your way to achieving those amazing results within that 90-day time frame. Remember, identify those top customers, nurture those relationships, and use what you learn to drive growth and build a company culture that's truly customer-centric.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the 80-20 principle. I feel like we've given our listeners a ton of actionable advice and practical strategies to transform their businesses. I'm excited for them to go out there and create those raving fans.
I'm excited for them too.
And one last thought for our listeners to consider as they embark on this journey. What if you went beyond simply delighting your top customers and challenged yourself to create an experience so extraordinary that they become true evangelists for your brand? Imagine a customer base so passionate about your company that they're actively looking for opportunities to sing your praises.
That's a powerful idea. Turning your customers into your most enthusiastic advocates. They become your biggest cheerleaders, spreading the word and attracting even more of those high-value customers you're looking for.
Exactly. That's the power of the 80-20 principle. When you focus on those relationships that truly matter, the sky's the limit. You can unlock levels of growth and success you never thought possible.
You're absolutely right.
So go out there and make it happen. Create those raving fans, those evangelists, those passionate advocates for your brand.
I have a feeling you're already thinking about those top customers. If you want to connect with those storybooks you're ready to fill with insights and those wow moments you're ready to create. This is just the beginning of an exciting journey.